Well, Josh Young is Chief Investment Officer at the Bison Interests investment firm. He joins us live from Houston, Texas by Skype. Thanks very much for being with us. What did you make of the statement? And do you think this is going to work, this strategy?
Well, I thought it was remarkable because there's something the federal government could do very easily to lower gasoline prices, which would be to lower the federal gasoline tax. Other than that, no, I think it was kind of remarkable and astonishing listening to the president speak and say things that are almost the exact opposite of what you're taught in basic economics classes.
So, I mean, in terms of the effect this will have on the oil-producing companies, he's also trying to get them to release more supply. Is that something that's likely to happen?
Yeah, so I think it's really interesting because on one hand, the president of the United States is going to other countries and asking them to produce more oil. But at the same time, he's having his policies here in the U.S. Cancel or delay pipelines and cancel lease sales that would lead to development of oil and gas here in the U.S., as well as dramatically increasing the regulatory burden here in the U.S. So it's a very strange thing to hear him say, my policies aren't affecting things, when people here are saying, hey, like, actually, Biden is having more of an effect on oil prices and gasoline prices than OPEC.
What about the point, though, that the price of wholesale oil has fallen 10%? That he made that point and said that hasn't been passed on by the people who are sort of serving it at the pumps. Is that fair?
I think it's indicative of just like policy advisors to the president not understanding what's happening. So what he was describing is FIFO, first in, first out. So of course, it always takes time in both directions for gasoline prices to follow oil prices, both down and up. So it was amazing to hear that, but really discouraging.
Sorry to stop you there, but I mean, on the whole, gas companies aren't exactly renowned for being sort of generous with the consumers, are they? They are well known for making lots of money. So it might be a fair assumption to think that there's some people making money unfairly here, isn't there?
Actually, I mean, not really. And sorry to argue with you about it, but if you look at the oil and gas industry, I mean, most of these companies, either many of them went bankrupt last year or they've had many unprofitable years over the last 10 or 15 years. So that's just factually not true. And then if you look at how these prices are set, in many cases, there's many gas stations buying gas from many different competing refiners. And one thing that your guys' correspondent, I think, maybe didn't fully appreciate, there's been many Federal Trade Commission investigations in the U.S. over the last 100 years, and none of them have found, especially with gasoline prices, any sort of price fixing or any sort of activity like that. So both from a financial history perspective as well as a investigation perspective, it just seems like the advisors and the policy is a little bit, they're just out of touch, I think, from history as well as from facts on the ground.
What about what this says about the relationship between the White House and Saudi Arabia, for example? Is that likely to improve after this? What do you reckon?
I mean, that's hard to say. I think, unfortunately, that relationship has been challenged for a little while. And I think this is just another, I thought it was really out of touch for the president to push Saudi Arabia, for example, to produce more oil when he's not pushing Americans and American companies or encouraging them to produce more oil as well. So I don't know. I think this is probably confusing from a Saudi perspective. It's hard for me to know exactly, but it definitely doesn't seem like an olive branch from America to Saudi Arabia.
Josh Young, thank you very much indeed for your thoughts on the subject.
Thank you.